A Battle Built here with another video, getting some more Pokemon Go Battle League PvP content. And as you may notice with today's video, we got a new format going on. We're not going to recap some battles. We're actually going to talk about the upcoming Pokemon Go Battle League season 12, and the move update that came along with it. In today's video, it's going to be a bit of a new format, as you can clearly tell, so please bear with me. Essentially, we have a tier list. I tiered out the entire move update with my Twitch stream and chat literally yesterday while live, so I highly recommend, if you want to see this kind of content live, you hit the link in the description to check out the Twitch stream. But if not, I'm going to try to make this as bite-sized and condensed and to the point for the YouTube audience. So essentially, I had this all recorded live. I was going to cut that up, but that just became super difficult. Talked about it for literally 2 hours in my Twitch chat, and we've now tiered out the entire update, and I'm going to explain the not the objective, but the perspective you should be taking while looking over this tier list. Also, my goal for this upcoming season, while also starting this video and putting out this content, talking about the new move update and being ahead of some season 12 content, is to essentially actually get on top of consistent Go Battle League content with the new upcoming season. That's one of my big goals, is to not abandon YouTube, but I feel like a bad parent literally every time I say that, and then I don't hold to my word. So please bear with me, I apologize, and hopefully I can make this video as entertaining and to the point as possible. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump into the video. So let's talk about this tier list. The goal was to go over all the changes that occurred move-wise, and essentially just move-wise. And we're talking about it in the perspective of where the Pokemon was previously before the update to where the update now takes that Pokemon. And as you'll see, we broke it down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiers here. Those consisting of the big winners, medium winners, small winners, unintended winners, no difference at all, medium losers, and big losers. So the goal, the breakdown, is I don't want to jump into the exciting stuff right off the bat. We're not going to talk about the big winners and big losers quite yet. We're going to actually start, well, not in the middle. I feel like the unintended winners is probably a good way to wrap things up. But we're going to talk about the Pokemon that essentially there was no difference made to them based on their update, or the Pokemon that were essentially the small winners of the update. And then I'll give you a short reasoning as to why for every single mon on here. I'm going to try and keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Some Pokemon I may ramble more than others for obvious reasons. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about the small winners. The first one being Nidorino. As you'll notice throughout this update, there were a lot of mid-evolution mons getting move updates, and that's because with the season 12 announcement, there's a new PvP Go Battle League Cup that is going to be happening called the Evolution Cup, and I guess that's all second evolution mons of 3 evolution forms, or 3 evolution mons essentially. The second one in those 3 evolutions is essentially going to be the focus of PvP battles. Nidorino, you'll notice, is a small winner, whereas Nidorino, I feel, has no difference, because Nidorino got access to Ice Beam with this update, and I feel like Ice Beam at least helps Nidorino cover its weaknesses. Whereas you'll notice with Nidorino, it got access to Thunderbolt. Also, I have the other image here if you want to pause, take a look at the update. Yeah, this would be the time to do so, or maybe I'll jump back and forth throughout the video and show you what I'm referring to, but I'm going to tell you mostly what mon got what move as we go through each one. Nidorino got access to Thunderbolt. I feel like it's not really helping it cover its weaknesses. They're both pure poison types. Nidorino got access to Ice Beam, so at least that move helps it, but Ice Beam's not a great move. Thunderbolt, not a great move, especially on mons like the 2 of them, where they're very high energy moves and they're not exactly damage efficient. Now, moving forward, Haunter, being a small winner of this move update, another mid-evolution mon, got access to Ice Punch. Ice Punch gives it a little bit of variety, but I do feel like you're going to opt more for Shadow Punch and Shadow Ball combo, Shadow Punch or Sludge Bomb. But on the off chance, at least Ice Punch again, like Nidorino, helps Haunter cover its weakness to ground, because it's also a poison type. So those are the reasons why, so far, those 2 are small winners. And moving forward to Girafarig. Girafarig got access to 2 moves with this update, Double Kick and Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs is what makes Girafarig a small winner here. Double Kick, I feel like, is not going to show it any worth or value because it doesn't get stabbed, and Confusion already does a good amount of damage while generating energy, while you want to spam out Psychic Fangs and essentially deal more oppressive fast move damage, which is what the goal of using a move like Psychic Fangs would do. You would essentially run Draft Rig with Confusion, Psychic Fangs, and Thunderbolt. Moving on to the next small winner, but before we do that, let me also remind you, as I go through this, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section of this video. I would love to have an open dialogue. I would love to know where you agree with me, disagree with me, convince me. I spent literally hours talking in my Twitch chat, and a lot of these mons moved multiple places because my initial gut was one thing, and then chat convinced me on another. So by all means, I'm more than welcome to being convinced by the YouTube audience in a different direction. Now, also before we go any further, I'm going to specifically talk about Pokemon first, and then the move themselves that got updated. Not Pokemon getting access to new moves, but there was like Pokemon getting moves and the moves literally being changed. So move changes will happen after I've talked about every single Pokemon. Nidoking is next on the list of mons that got another update. Nidoking ended up getting access to Double Kick. This was one of the mons I was convinced on because I thought it was going to be no different. I thought you might want to essentially run Fury Cutter, which is Legacy on Nidoking, but with Double Kick, at least now, it has a move that it can deal super effective damage to Steel types. It makes it a ground that can maybe beat Steels a little bit better. And of course, the other moves it has access to are along the lines of Sand Tomb, Earthquake, Sludge Wave. I'm probably missing one, maybe Mega Horn. Don't quote me, I'm recording this entire video in one take. But essentially, at least with double kick instead of Poison Jab or Fury Cutter, now it can be a ground type that hits Steels for super effective. Incineroar is also a small winner because Incineroar was also given access to Double Kick, and it's at least a fast move that now can generate energy similarly to Snarl, but then deal super effective damage for Incineroar, whereas its only other, against Steel types, I mean, as a Fire type, whereas its only other move that would have helped it deal super effective damage would have been Fire Fangs, and Double Kick is a huge upgrade over that. Similarly, we have Lopunny and Hitmonlee both being small winners, not because they're going to be great mons, but because before Double Kick, they were just so god-awfully terrible. At least now, with the access to Double Kick, both mons may have a little bit of spice play here and there. Moving forward onto Galarian Rapidash. Galarian Rapidash got access to Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind gives it an alternative to Psycho Cut so that it can be a stronger fairy type, essentially, instead of just spamming with Psycho Cut the Body Slam. Now it can deal stab, super effective fast move damage with Fairy Wind and actually hit Dark types, whereas Psycho Cut, as much as it is stab, didn't allow it to hit Dark types in that way. Now it can hit Darks and fighting types for super effective damage instead of just one with its fast moves, while also spamming Body Slams and having nuke potential with Play Rough. Jumpluff was one I was convinced by my chat to move from no difference to small winner because Fairy Wind is literally a Mudshot clone of the Fairy typing. It gives Jumpluff a better energy generating move. Even though it's non-stab, it at least allows it to hit mons that like Altaria that would typically wall in the past for some super effective damage, then also spamming Acrobatics. So at least that matchup particularly, there might be a couple others I'm not jumping off the top of my head and saying, but essentially will help it improve on. So that's why it became a small winner there. And then last but not least, out of the small winners column, we have Florges. Florges got access to Fairy Wind, and I was convinced by chat also because before this, Florges had Vine Whip, which was a good energy generating move. At least now with Fairy Wind, and now is a stab move to deal to generate energy quicker with its fast move. Now moving on to the mons that there was no difference made. We have Nidorino with Thunderbolt, Marowak with Rock Tomb, Camerupt with Incinerate, Ledion with Dynamic Punch, Golisopod with Shadow Claw, Arcanine with Psychic Fangs, Espeon with Psychic Fangs, Manectric and Swoobat with Psychic Fangs. I'm going to talk about literally all of them at the jump at one time. Before they were trash, not really. I mean, Arcanine had a little bit of spice play, little bit. But none of these mons got improved by getting access to the moves that I just mentioned that they got. So that's why they remained here. My chat tried to really convince me of Arcanine, but with access to Snarl or Fire Fangs, if it had a better fast move, then I could see Psychic Fangs really helping it. But it needs that better fast move first. Ledion, also similar case. Dynamic Punch would be great for it against Steels as a Bug Flying, but it's still being held back by its fast move of Bug Bite that you're going to end up running on it. And until Ledyon gets a better fast move. Dynamic Punch is not helping him. Camera Up getting Incinerate sounds exciting, but essentially, its other moves are just way too big, and Camera Up is too glassy. It's going to help from like a raid perspective when we get the Mega, but we're only talking about from a PvP perspective. Moving forward. Now, let's talk about more of the exciting changes from this update, starting with the medium winners. We have Tentacruel getting access to Scald, a very well needed charge move that can hit for damage and is cheaper energy than what it had access to before in the forms of Hydro Pump and Sludge Wave, whereas Scald now also is as cheap or cheaper than Acid Spray, which is the other move it has access to, and can hit for damage and has debuff potential of the attack. So big upgrade for Tentacruel. Dragonair, I was convinced by my chat, it got access to Body Slam. Body Slam being an upgrade over Wrap, both normal type moves, but Wrap being a terrible move, and Dragonair and Body Slam doing the same amount of damage but for cheaper energy gives it some more spammability. You could run it with Body Slam Aqua Tail, or you could run it with Body Slam Dragon Pulse, and it gives it some more play in that mid-evolution cup. So before, it had some play in type cups like Kanto Cup and whatnot, but now I feel like Body Slam gives it a little bit more accessibility. Now, this was a huge one that I had to be convinced of by my chat. Nihilego. Nihilego went from having Acid Spray as a fast move to now getting access to Poison Jab. Poison Jab helps it more dominantly win its matchups as a poison type and allows it to pick up wins, I think, against like Lugia, Ho-Ho as a rock type. So now it essentially can benefit and succeed with its typing instead of Acid just being such a terrible move and it either winning the fairy matchups close because of how bad Acid was, or just losing matchups against Flyers even though it's a rock type. So it'll have some very niche play. It's not going to be super meta mon. There's still a lot of main meta PvP mons like Dialga, Kyogre, Mewtwo that are going to slaughter the hell out of this, but now we at least get a little bit of a Spice Master League option that can wall the likes of Zacian. Steelix got access to Psychic Fangs, and this was a move update that I was excited about because Steelix's main fast move is Dragon Tail, that being a very good fast move even though it's non-stab. It's a more oppressive move, fast move damage-wise, so having the combo of Psychic Fangs and then Earthquake where it can bait and debuff you or land a big move Earthquake, I feel is going to give Steelix a lot more play in Ultra League and even a little bit of play in Great League. Mawile being the Fairy Steel type, getting access to Fairy Wind, I felt like was a medium winner because now it gives it some side grade success. Before Mawile, you'd only run one-dimensionally with Fire Fang, Pop, and then maybe land a big move of Iron Head Play Rough that you would never get to. Now with Fairy Wind, it can essentially go double nuke, throw nothing but stab damage in the form of Fairy Wind, Play Rough, and Iron Head. And as much as Play Rough and Iron Head aren't amazing moves, at least now it has access to another potential avenue of PvP success. And then lastly, Slurpluff, the only fairy that was also a charmer that got access to Fairy Wind. So now it'll have some versatility. Also, that was a big thing about Fairy Wind even coming into the game. Like I said before, Fairy Wind is a Mudshot clone of the fairy typing. And to recap, when I talked about Double Kick I've been told is close to being like a Hex clone, not exactly, but close to it, but of the fighting typing. Those are the only two brand new moves that were completely introduced into this game, into this game through this season update. And Slurpluff has some very interesting charge moves. We probably want to run something along the lines of Play Rough and Flamethrower, so it's an actual fairy that can hit steel types, because there's not many of those, but you got Gramble, and that's the only option, so definitely some improvement there. Lantern, one of the biggest winners. This is where we get to the meat of potatoes, the exciting part of this video, the exciting part of this update, the entire big winning section. Lantern getting access to Surf is huge for it. It now has a water charge move that it can throw more reliably than Hydro Pump, and it gives it more, of course, versatility. Diversity, you're going to go with something along the lines of Spark, Surf, and Thunderbolt, and now you can essentially get off both, take advantage of both of Lantern's typings, water and electric, by hitting with those moves more consistently. Dragonite, another huge upgrade for it, and potential changes to the Master League meta. Maybe not major, but definitely slight. Dragonite getting access to Superpower. Fighting type move. It was always getting slaughtered by Dialgas and Melmetals. Now it has something to sneak up on them and hit them with, while also having the dragon play that it had before. And Dragonite is definitely a top tier dragon, so that diversity is going to be huge. It was already losing the Charmers regardless. You could keep Hurricane to hit a Togekiss, but honestly, I don't think those situations will be as prevalent as wanting to hit a Steel type, especially now when Dragonite, if you want to save swap it, gets locked against a Melmetal. Now it actually has an avenue to potentially win that matchup, depending on the shielding. Two huge winners, even though this is a two-part conversation. Dunsparce and Miltank getting access to Rollout. Super exciting, but unfortunately, as you'll notice down here, Rollout itself is in the big losers section because it also got nerfed. According to the season update screen, Rollout energy generation is going to be decreased. So one big issue for Rollout specifically is that it didn't do a lot of damage, so it particularly relied on generating energy. Alolan Golem Community Day essentially became useless because even with Rollout how it was, Golem did not improve. So by nerfing it, Golem's essentially useless, but at least with Dunsparce and Miltank, even with a nerfed Rollout, it's going to bring them a lot more positive matchups throughout all of the Open Great League metas. There's only one Open Great League meta, but Great League metas in general. And then Miltank also will now have play in Great League and Ultra League. As I'm recording this video, a lot of these nerfs, essentially, or buffs to the moves was literally announced, but I did not get enough time to look at them specifically to speak too deeply on them. But I will provide a link in the description of this video to give you the specifics, the stats of what the exact changes were, because some moves got buffed, some moves got nerfed. We're going to get to that shortly. But essentially, Dunsparce and Miltank are going to pick up still a lot of wins in both key metas of Great League and Ultra League, thanks to Rollout. Well, Dunsparce not in Ultra League, but you know what I mean. Now, Runigrius, very big winner here, getting access to Shadow Claw. Before it having Shadow Claw, it was completely useless. My only concern for it is that now it's running Shadow Claw with Shadow Ball, which is amazing, but its cheaper charge move options are Sand Tomb and Rock Tomb, and those aren't great cheap charge move options. So hopefully we'll see another update for it in the future, but it's going to see so much more play as a Ghost type, Ghost Ground type, super unique in Open Great League and specified Great League metas, and even Ultra League now, because I think it's similar stat-wise to Call for Regis, maybe not the exact same. Someone in the YouTube comment section correct me, please. But I'm pretty sure you can run XL in Ultra League, so that would also be interesting. Now, Dubwill, the one mon that got Double Kick and is now going to see a huge improvement. Double Kick being, again, that not super effective, that fighting type fast move that will allow it to generate energy at a faster pace compared to what it had previously. It'll now be able to spam moves along the lines of Body Slam and Wild Charge. It's going to be huge for Dubwill in both Great League and Open Ultra League metas, whereas before you were barely running it maybe for some spice options. It's going to see a huge upgrade thanks to its access to Double Kick that it's getting. And last but not least, a personal favorite of mine, chat told me it's more of a medium winner, but Galarian Weezing I personally like and cannot wait to run once Season 12 starts. Getting access to Fairy Wind. Oh my god, the Galarian Weezing need this. It had Tackle before, we will talk about Tackle in a moment, but it's got one of the most unique typings in the game of a Poison Fairy type. So it's essentially going to be the best fairy against other fairies. Now that it can generate energy with Fairy Wind, it can spam and land moves along the lines of Sludge as a bait move. And then, oh no, I'm drawing a blank, but it has a big fairy charge move that's going to be able to land. I think it also has access to Fire Blast, which you could always run for the memes. It might be Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast. One of those two. One obviously being better than the other, but regardless, Galarian Weezing getting a huge upgrade, seeing no PvP play before. Now, I think will be a much more prevalent mon in both Open and Ultra League, Open Great League and Ultra League, along with, any potential specified metas along the way. So that covers all of the mons and their move updates. Let's speak about the move changes. Ancient Power, Silverwind, we're being told by this graphic that the damage they're going to deal is going to be more. But now when Ancient Power or Silverwind boost, instead of it being a 2-stage boost to your Pokemon's attack and defense, it should be a 1-stage boost. So it's not as ideal, but now you can at least deal damage with these moves and potentially, aim for that one boost a game, hopefully. So I think it's still medium winners. It's unfortunate for the moves itself that they don't have the 2-stage boost anymore. Those 2-stage boosts were quite OP, and because of how little damage they were doing, you were rarely ever running those mons. Now, Quick Attack and Tackle. I saw before I got into this video, that Quick Attack is turning into a Karate Chop clone, and Tackle is turning into a Lick clone. So those are going to be, I think, maybe medium winners for it. But again, this tier list was done before that, so this was already saved, and I want to make adjustments. But I could still make the argument small, medium winners. Mons that, you know, were completely useless because of these moves being straight garbage, now can see a lot more play. You can see Tackle Xerneas in Master League. You can see Quick Attack Virizion in Ultra League. Those are options. I saw somebody say on Twitter that Munchlax with Tackle now has play against like Lickitung, which is like super specific, and it's going to really only help in very intricate areas. But at least these moves aren't completely garbage worthy anymore and may see a little bit more prevalence on PvP mons, you know, for success. So that's exciting. And now let's talk about the losers of the move changes in this update. We have Zap Cannon and Icicle Spear. Zap Cannon, the change was that now it's on a guaranteed attack debuff. I was assuming it was going to be 50%. Anything less than that, I would have put it in the big losers section. But according to what I saw on Twitter, it's supposed to be a 66% chance. This is also still up to change because, you know, Niantic, they'll say one thing, do one thing, and then still make another change right before the season starts. But as long as it's no smaller than a 50% chance, I still think that it's a medium loser because it just lost a guaranteed debuff, but at least there's still a strong chance of the debuff happening. Icicle Spear, I don't know the exact change and how much more energy it's going to cost, but Icicle Spear is a medium loser. Walrein, being the only mon that had access to it, is now going to fall a little bit out of the meta, a bit. I don't think it'll completely disappear. I think it'll still have a lot of play because Powder Snow is so spammy. But now Icicle Spear is going to require more energy in order to shoot them off from Walrein. Now, if it's a 5 energy increase, then Icicle Spear is a medium loser. If it's anything more than that, this could also get moved to the big loser section. But that essentially recaps those two moves. And last but not least, we already explained big loser for Rollout. Ominous Wind is a big loser because if you look close enough, which I did not do until I talked this over with chat, but Ancient Power Silver Wind get an increase in power while their boosts got nerfed. Ominous Wind did not get an increase in power. It just got its boosts nerfed. So that's just an L for Ominous Wind. You hate to see it, but honestly, how many mons are really running Ominous Wind regardless? Giratina Origin in Master League, you're probably still going to run that regardless so that you have a bait move for your Shadow Balls. But regardless, for the move itself, from that perspective, now it's going to see even less play. Now, all of this recapping, fighters and fairies, well, at least those types of moves, are going to become more prevalent type mons or types that you see because not every fighter and fairy got access to them. It's a variety of types that got access. And then also the nerf specifically to Walrein created some unintended winners in this middle section. There are probably more than what I'm saying, but Nidoqueen jumps out at me first and foremost, and then Trevenant and Altaria. Anything that struggled against Walrein is going to see now more play because Walrein's going to slip a little bit out of the meta. And then on top of it, Nidoqueen specifically with a fighting and fairy buff is going to slaughter those types. Trevenant and Altaria will beat all the fighters. Altaria is slightly less winner because it's not going to want to see the increase in potential fairies being used or fairy fast moves being used in some PvP battles, but it's still going to benefit from potential lacks of Walreins. So that's my Season 12 tier list of the move update and my recap of everything that essentially occurred with this announcement. Please let me know in the comment section of this video. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Also, let me know what you thought of the structure of this video. It went for almost 25 minutes. I kept this as short as I possibly could. I wanted to recap. I didn't want to talk too much about the unimportant stuff. And I think I kept rambling to a minimum. There are more reasons for a lot of these mons being where they are on this list. But again, I didn't want this video to run for 30, 40, 50 minutes to an hour. And so I couldn't get too deep and too specific on each and every one. But please give me your thoughts, your comments, agreements. I don't know if those are, well, agreements is a word. Anyhow, anything you disagree with. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And also just let me know what you thought of how I did this video, because ideally, if I stop being a bad parent to this YouTube channel and get out videos more consistently, you won't only just see Go Battle League battles when I'm putting up content. I would love to do more videos along this line. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Preach!